national team, £4 million from Sporting Lisbon, and more evidence, Ken was talking about it earlier, that Juve are building a very serious squad for next year. Of course, this team that we'll be watching today from Juventus, no slouches either, now that they've resolved one or two injury problems. Gianluca Vialli, in particular, is back from injury, making only his second start since that broken foot back at the start of the season. Now, Don Howe is with me here. Don, you were saying before you're a big fan of Vialli. Do you think coming back after such a long layoff he can make an impact today?
Yeah, well, he is an outstanding player, perhaps one of the best fun players in Italian football. But like all players, it'll take him 2 or 3 games to get into his stride and get the understanding with Baggio and Moller and players like this.
Well, of course, Vialli returning from injury, one player heading fast in the opposite direction right now, unfortunately, is Paul Gascoigne, and best wishes to you, Paul. Hope your operation went well. Don, you were mentioning again before we went on the air that you too have had a similar operation and recovered a lot quicker than some of the predictions are making out.
Yes, that's right. I mean, the doom and gloom kind of pessimists back home are not right. I had exactly the same. I had a compound fracture of my right tibia, and I had a plate put on it, and out in 6 months I was back training. And I would think Paul will heal a lot quicker than I did.
We can hear the atmosphere building in the background. The team's coming out on the field now, so time to go across to our commentators, Ray Wilkins and Peter Brackley.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everyone. And will we see, I wonder, another upset then today as Napoli endeavour to repeat against Juventus their success over Milan 2 weeks ago. Memory is still vivid of Paolo Di Canio's somewhat overzealous celebrations after his winning goal. And Napoli, still with a European place in their sights, will be equally anxious to curtail the recent good run of Milan's closest rivals. Well, suspensions and injuries have prevented Napoli from fielding the settled side in the past few weeks. This afternoon they have Bordin, Cannavaro and Ferrara all available again, but Franchini and Jonas Turner still missing, and the sweeper Beer is banned from this one after his latest sending off. Well, here's the Juventus side. It's a strong one with most of the key players available to coach Trapattoni. Roberto Baggio linking with Moller and Conte, and Gianluca Vialli, as you've heard, just back from injury, making only his 4th start in Serie A this season. He'll be up front in the number 9 shirt. Dino Baggio, though, is still missing out through injury. Napoli against Juventus. It's a fixture that Juve have dominated in recent seasons. Indeed, they've won the last 5 meetings, home and away. And hopefully it's good for a goal or two. 47 have been scored in the last 12 fixtures involving these two. Juve, of course, in 2nd place in Serie A, 7 points behind Milan, who drew with Torino in their match this weekend. And Milan will be champions today if Juventus lose and Sampdoria drop a point in the Genoa derby. Alongside me is Ray Wilkins. Ray, your thoughts on this one as the teams prepare for the kickoff?
Yes, good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I think this will be. I think we'll see goals in this game with the players that we have on view. Fonseca, Di Canio for Napoli, and it's great to welcome back Gianluca Vialli, a real favourite of mine. We heard Don Howe talking very affectionately about him, and he really is a very talented player. As Don said, one of the best strikers in Italian football. Great shame that he's missed most of the season, but I'm sure he'll be back with a bang. And there's a man that can load them bullets full in Baggio. Baggio, possibly the best player in world football at the moment, and a player who has really given us some fantastic highlights this season.
And certainly Napoli will be relieved to have Ferrara back in their side after injury. He's been out for a couple of matches, the captain of Napoli, and heading for Juventus, we're told, next season, as is this man, Marcello Lippi, who's due to take over from Giovanni Trapattoni as the coach of Juventus. The news of Trapattoni, the latest anyway, suggests that he could be on his way to Roma. All change at the top of Serie A next season.
It's unbelievable, Peter, isn't it, the way they chop and change? You know, normally in this country we talk about players moving on at the end of the season, but already it appears that they know their manager's going to be next season. It can be slightly unsettling for everybody concerned, managers and players alike. But the pitch looks in absolutely magnificent condition. Don Howe was dead right when he said this is a passing pitch. When there's that little greasy top to it, the ball really does zip around, and we do have some fantastic exponents of the passing game here with Juventus and these Napoli players.
Vialli here, who hasn't started a match since the first meeting with Napoli earlier in the season, and he's featured in only 6 Serie A games this season. He's yet to score. This from a man who, not so long ago in Sampdoria's championship season of 1991, was the top scorer in Serie A. But his move to Juventus hasn't really produced the goal flurry he was hoping for. Much of that down to injuries, of course, and he's come in today in place of Ravanelli, who's among the substitutes. Away by Gambaro, the player on loan from Milan. Torricelli. First challenge from Vialli. Napoli have won only 2 of their last 11 matches in Serie A, but of course one of those was against Milan, and the celebrations went long into the night on that occasion. It's Buso.
It's been a tough whole season for Napoli, Pete, hasn't it? What with the wranglings internally within the club. The players have shown an immense amount of character to be on the fringe of a UEFA place, and it's full credit to them that have done so. And they've obviously kept their spirits up. They had a fantastic win against Milan, but a very, very disappointing defeat last week. They'll be hoping to put that right.
Napoli down in 8th place in Serie A on 30 points. Inter above them also on 30. Torino on 33. And they are very much in the running, Napoli, for a place in the UEFA Cup next season. Free kick to Juventus, taken by Torricelli. Napoli have left out Naylor, who we thought was going to play sweeper in place of Pecchia. Corradini is in the side instead. This is Gambaro now. Marauding as he often does down this left flank. Placed though by Kohler.
Fabulous tackle from the German there. Gambaro was really in full flight, but Kohler was having none of it. It was a great challenge from him.
And the word is that Kohler may be going back to Germany next season. Juventus apparently prepared to sacrifice him in their rebuilding plans. Kohler with the clearance then.
Be a big loss for him, Peter, if he was to leave. He really has been the backbone of their outfit for a couple of seasons now. A really top-class defender, and once you've got that settled defensive section, it's pretty advisable at times to keep hold of it. If you don't concede goals, you're not going to lose many games.
Up towards Fonseca. This is Porrini. Closed down though by Canio. The rain absolutely teeming down in Naples. So the surface is going to be slippery, but nonetheless in immaculate condition. Good surface for passing the ball around. And Napoli will be hoping to do that with the likes of Corini in midfield and Pecchia, who's done so well for them this season. But still no Jonas Turn, who's on his way back from injury. Good tackle then by Conte. Baggio's pass, sending Vialli away. Ferrara with the tackle, perfectly timed.
Been a great opening period, hasn't it? Some superb passing around, and Vialli there, he's off like a shot. Wants to get involved early doors. Great to have him back.
Throw taken by Fortunato. This is he now. One of his teammates down injured.
I think it's Moller actually, Peter, got a whack on the head there from the throw-in.
Moller, who's had a bit of an unsettling season really with Juventus, and he hasn't scored. He's got 1 in the last 13, so he's been out of sorts really. And there is talk that he might be going back to Germany as well next season, or possibly to Holland with PSV Eindhoven, who are showing a lot of interest.
It was a poor throw-in actually by Fortunato, but there was no need for him to throw it that high, and even put him at risk of getting a knock on the head. That'd be a shame if he was to leave as well, because I think Moller has really been a great asset to Juventus and really come to life and made them tick at times.
Just maybe lacks that level of consistency though that Juventus were hoping for. Corini with the pass, now then to Torricelli, who certainly has been consistent for Juventus. Now Vialli, showing plenty of early zest. Pecchia though with the intervention, now Ferrara to Corradini. To Juventus. The foul on Roberto Baggio. (16 goals from Baggio this season. Same tally as Silenzi of Torino, 1 less than Zola of Parma and Signori of Lazio. Juventus have won their last 3 games without conceding a goal, but they're up against the conditions as well as Napoli today. Buso taking the throw to Corini. Buso seems to have had a roll down the right today. They've switched him around this season with Napoli. Former Juventus player, of course. He began his career there as a 16-year-old. But it's a career that's never quite taken off for him, despite all that early promise. Shepherded back, Fonseca going down. Whistles for the crowd, but not for the referee.
And quite right too. That was a nice bit of play action from Fonseca. He's going to get no change from the man in the middle of the pitch there, Kohler. He really is possibly one of the best man-to-man markers in world football.
Baggio. Spread it on for Vialli to chase.
If Vialli keeps up this pace, he must be in tremendous physical condition, because he's making runs all over the field at the moment, and Baggio's picked him out on several occasions. He does look in fine form.
He's been sub for the past couple of games now, Vialli. And in the last match came on for the second half.
I think he was a little bit unfortunate there as well, Peter. He rolls the defender, but the defender's very, very tight and a bit too tight to him. Vialli can feel him on his back, and he just rolled him round, and I thought he was a little bit unlucky there.
Ferrara, the man who's been detailed to pick up Vialli this afternoon. Pecchia working hard. Now Corini. Kohler right on the shirt tail of Fonseca. Baggio, tentative touch though, to allow Bordin to get in with the tackle. And referee Beskin waving play on. Gianni Beskin from Legnano, near Verona, the man in charge today. A lot of interesting personal duels going on out there, Ray.
Yes, there are. You mentioned before, Ferrara's picking up Vialli, and then you've got Kohler picking up Fonseca. It really is going to be a very, very enjoyable afternoon.
Maybe not for Vialli if Ferrara sticks that close to it.
He'll be loving it, Vialli. It'll be just great to be back in the swing of it. And, he's grown his hair back, might bring him a bit of good fortune. Must be nice to be able to grow your hair back, Peter.
Well, you were out on the Rangers side yesterday. Perhaps when you're back, you'll have grown your hair by then. Who knows?
I'd like to think so, mate.
Baggio, dangerous ball in. And Taglialatela did well to clear that under some pressure. Buso, swapping flanks. Now Fonseca. Corini. Canio. No one will be more anxious to impress than him today, but the surface got the better of him then. Livio. First time he's really been involved in the action this afternoon. It's mainly been down the other flank from Juve's point of view anyway. Livio has had a good steady season for Juventus. Vialli now. Livio with a cross, Conte in the middle, out though by Corradini, the veteran Napoli defender. Roberto Baggio. Curling it wide to Livio. Comparisons bound to be drawn between Livio and Canio, the man he replaced, of course, at Juventus. Here's Kohler. Too strong, easily resisting the challenge of Canio, slipping on then to Moller. And then very nearly got through there. Promising raid by Juventus.
Yeah, that was excellent football, Peter. Kohler coming on the scene, and it was a lovely little pass into the strike. There's Moller making his run there in the middle of the pitch. It's a beautifully weighted pass for him. And Moller attempting a little back heel there. Just miskicks the ball, and it goes straight into Tagliatela's hands.
10 minutes gone, as Peruzzi has to clear fairly hastily at the other end. Moller down for Conte. Now Marocchi, replacing the injured Dino Baggio, as he has had to do in quite a few matches recently. Fortunato. There's the confrontation again, Ferrara and Vialli. And the
Sticking
referee
to
ruling
Ferrari like a second skin, Peter, isn't it? It's unbelievable how tight he is to him. It's going to be a foul all the time.
Just wonder how much the referee will tolerate. Fortunato. Roberto Baggio tangling with Cannavaro.
I think it was an accident. He seemed to slip into the back of Baggio. It wasn't nothing malicious about that at all, Fred, I don't think.
Roberto Baggio, who knows every match he plays in, he's going to come in for some harsh treatment. Very much a marked man. Oh, they wasted that free kick. Fonseca. This is Pecchia. Busy and lively for Napoli. Bordin was returning after suspension. Pecchia again. Just covers so much ground. Bordin. Fonseca turned sharply, but again Kohler got in the tackle nonetheless. Canio sets himself up.
Yeah, some lovely action there, Peter. First from Fonseca, it was a lovely little dummy. He let the ball run across his body. He actually did Kohler there, and Kohler was up like a flash and blocked the shot, and then as the ball came out, Canio, as we see there, rifled in the rebound. Some good play from Napoli.
Full of confidence, Canio after his winner against Milan. And he says he's quite happy to stay on with Napoli, but a lot depends on the transfer movements, certainly involving the two clubs and other interested parties.
Because I'm sure he's enjoying actually playing from week to week, Peter. Obviously, when he's with Juventus, he doesn't really get that consistent game week in, week out, and there's nothing like playing.
Fouled by Porrini on Canio, who certainly wasn't an automatic choice when he was with Juventus, Canio, and he's had some harsh things to say about his, well, I say former club. He's still officially with them, of course, only being on loan to Napoli. And I noticed when he was talking about Trapattoni, he never referred to him by name. It was just the coach all the time.
Yes, that's right.
Pecchia chasing with Andy Moller. Very impressive Pecchia in his first season since coming from Avellino back in the summer. Made an impact in the pre-season games that has held down a regular place throughout the campaign. Now maybe a surprise developing in the Genoa derby. Vink has given Genoa the lead against Sampdoria. Bound to be a fierce occasion, that one. The Genoa derby, one of the most hotly contested matches in the Italian calendar. A goal from Vink, giving the early advantage then to Genoa. No goals here. Napoli 0, Juventus 0. Just one goal between the teams when they met earlier in the season. Trapattoni's side winning thanks to an own goal from Ferrara. Now the ball was handled then by Torricelli, and he's got a yellow card, so he's standing for no nonsense, this referee. An arm snaked out then from Torricelli.
Yes, it definitely was handball. It was a great run from Fonseca, a lovely delivery. That's what we're talking about, the passing pitch. As the ball skids up, it's very difficult for defenders.
And they've taken the free kick too quickly. Now, Canio involved in the free kick. Touched off to Corini. Not a bad strike either. Corini, who can be very useful on these long-range free kicks. Another former Juventus man. Never really got a regular run in their side, though. And out of favour over 2 with Sampdoria last season before switching to Napoli, where he's also had to fight for his place.
Yes, he looked initially, Peter, that he would really be an exceptional player, and let's hope he can do it with Napoli. Let's hope that the club change will do him a lot of good.
Vialli's touch, on from Moller. And a free kick given to Napoli. Foul off Livio by Fonseca. By Moller to Vialli, who's pulled out wide. He's got Livio even further wide. It's gone through the middle there to Baggio. Conte's shot, and it spins away for the corner.
Yeah, that was good football again, and orchestrated by Vialli. It was a good run out wide, and then he picked out Baggio with a super pass, and it was Conte's shot that was goal bound, as we see it here, and it's just deflected.
Jürgen Kohler has come forward for the corner kick, which will be taken by Andreas Moller. Porrini up as well. Vialli in there. And well claimed by Taglialatela. He didn't play in the first meeting between the two teams. He was out injured, but has had a consistent season in goal for Napoli. For Moller to show his pace. Still Moller! Great save by Taglialatela, who beats it away. And Baggio there at the bottom of the picture, protesting that he might have had a service himself then from Moller, but he chose to go alone.
He was absolutely fuming, Peter, wasn't he, with Moller? I thought Moller did absolutely magnificently well, and I thought Baggio was right to have a bit of a go at him.
Now Buso for Napoli. Fonseca was lurking in the middle. Roberto Baggio. Asking a lot though of the Livio. It was Gambaro with the challenge. Conte now for Juventus to Moller.
Yeah, there we see it. Moller comes inside very, very well. And Baggio's just to his left-hand side, and I think he was expecting that little square pass. There didn't seem a lot of love lost between the two of them afterwards either.
Torricelli. Laid off by Vialli. Off by Marocchi. Fortunato well forward.
That was great forward play from Vialli. He came off, laid the ball off, and as soon as he laid it off, the spin was there. He was looking to get in behind the Napoli defenders. It was really first-class forward play.
The Canio spotting the run of Gambaro. Was relished the regular run in a Serie A side this season. He just didn't get it, Milan. Sampdoria have now equalised in the Genoa derby. A goal from Jugovic. A shot that was deflected in, so it may be taken away from him, but what won't change is the fact that it's now Sampdoria 1, Genoa 1. This is Corradini for Napoli. The on was from Fonseca, read though by Porrini. Now Conte to Marocchi. This is Jürgen Kohler. Marocchi forward to Baggio. Released by Cannavaro. Fortunato. Measured build-up by Juventus. Andy Moller now. It's certainly patient football. Torricelli goes for route one. And I think the flag's up for offside.
Yes, it's a shame you went for route one, actually. They were keeping the ball nicely, and on that sort of surface, you can move the ball very quickly. And Torricelli just really booted it forward, and it was a pretty wasted spate of play from Juventus. But we've got another one of those man-for-man jobs now. Cannavaro has gone to pick up Baggio. They obviously feel that Baggio's starting to run the show, so we'll have another little contest on our hands.
Juventus, who've been in good form over the past couple of months or so, and they've lost indeed only one of their last 15 games now, and that at home to Milan, no less. Livio. Run out of play by Conte. for a Napoli throw. Napoli, whose main objective really at the start of the season was to avoid relegation. Now here they are, challenging for a UEFA Cup place. So the season hasn't turned out so badly for them as many expected, with all their problems behind the scenes. Confident defending by Ferrara. On by Bordin to Fonseca. Fortunato. Jurgen Kohler. Never looks ruffled, never really hurried, Kohler. But he has that acceleration when he needs it at the back in defending.
Yeah, he's an exceptional defender, Peter. He's not got the greatest feet in the world either for a centre-half, but because he gives himself nice deep angles off people, it gives himself plenty of time in possession of the ball, and therefore we very seldom see him make a mistake whilst in possession.
Fonseca. This is Bordin, wide then to Gambaro. Charged down by Conte, who does get through a prodigious amount of work for Juventus. Movement here from Canio. Forced out by his marker Porrini. But it's a Napoli throw. Gambaro. In towards Fonseca. Now Ferrara with a shot. Manchester taking a nick there off Buso. As it whistled across the goal.
Yeah, not the best shot in the world, Peter, but it's a great cross it finishes out. And a little bit unfortunate they never got on the end of that as it whistles across.
I would think Pecchia offside anyway, ahead of Buso. Don Howe, let's get your early thoughts on how you think the game's shaping up so far.
Yes, Peter, it's fairly even Steven at the moment. Obviously the conditions are affecting both the forwards and the defenders. Now it's hard to keep your feet, as a player just slipped over there. But obviously it is a day to get your crosses in and get your shots in, because it's not going to be easy for the keeper. The ball will shoot at him, it won't be easy to handle it. So the more direct they are, I would think, on today's conditions, the better they'll be.
Okay, Don, hear from you later on. Conte. Livio with a throw, certainly a less spectacular player than Canio, but maybe a more consistent one. Pecchia through the middle for Napoli. Trying to send Canio away. And Peruzzi was pretty cool. Playing with a damaged finger today, Peruzzi, which he sustained in training this week. But it was his feet he needed then, not his hands. Fortunato making good progress down the Napoli flank, until it's deflected into the path of Taglialatela.
That's a fair old number he's got on his jumper, Peter, isn't it? There's often little things that pop up in the Italian game. I've never seen a number that big on a goalkeeper's jersey.
Will we hear about your pet hate the referee's shirts today, or are you going to leave that one alone this time?
I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going for the goalkeeper's jersey.
Well, nice to have you back with us, Ray. I think you were last with us when you were off with the under-21s, which certainly surprised those of us not realising you still qualified.
I wished.
A very overage player. Torricelli. Did you enjoy it, though, being with the
it was fabulous, yeah. It was a really nice experience.
Now, this is Vialli. And, of course, Ray teaming up with Don Howe in the England set-up now. Vialli's slide to no effect. Found it on Ferrara. And they're having a right old ding-dong, these two, this afternoon.
It's great to have him back though, Peter, and he does definitely give something to the Italian game when you watch Vialli play. Full of enthusiasm, and obviously coupled with the great technique that he has, it's a delight to watch.
Marocchi put under pressure. Two players got in each other's way then as the shot got through from Canio and was well held by Peruzzi.
Exactly what Don was talking about there, Peter. Canio seeing the goalpost and just having a blast, and you saw it really skid along the floor. and Peruzzi showed great handling ability.
That's 2 firm strikes already by Canio.
There's a tendency when you play against your old side or the side that you still belong to, you try too much to impress, and Canio really hasn't fallen into that groove yet. He's knocking the ball off, he's getting his shots in, and he's not started off too badly.
On by Conte, who again is well forward for Juventus. This is Corradini, who really was only a French player this season, but has got quite a few chances in the side because of injuries. Fraccini's still out, remember. And also missing today, Biar, the regular sweeper. Baggio with the free kick. Kohler. Now then for Marocchi. This is Fortunato with a chance to cross it in. And hit wide by Conte.
A great cross from Fortunato. The ball just zipped off the turf at the near post. And there was Conte volleying on his left side. This is a hell of a ball in. Just skids up now. Conte just couldn't wrap his foot round and finish it off. But it was a great run from Vialli across the near post. That's where lots of goals are scored, across the near post. And if you really want to get in there, that's where the opportunities will arise.
Yes, I don't think Vialli himself was too far away from making contact. Conte did, but couldn't hit the target. Kohler now. Here's Conte. Buso. Moving to exploit the pace of Fonseca, and he almost got away then from Torricelli.
Does ever so well, Fonseca, Peter. He plays up there all on his own, works very, very hard, and he really has been a major asset for Napoli.
I'm not too happy this week that the negotiations about his move to Juventus are taking place just before the game between the two clubs. No chance there for Peruzzi from Gambaro.
I think that was the old swinger of Gambaro there on the right foot. But it's worth having a pop.
Just talking of Fonseca, he was saying beforehand, I want to assure the fans that I'll still play with the same dedication and determination in this game. Besides, he says it's up to me to decide on my future and not the directors of Napoli. On by Corradini. Baggio, lovely little turn. And Ferrara comes herring across.
Yes, it's a great shame actually, Peter, with the huge problems obviously Napoli have. Their main saleable asset is Fonseca, and I think you'll probably find that he will move on.
Well, they're certainly saying the move is certain now, certain as you can be at this stage. The problem really that Juventus want to include Canio and Ravanelli in the deal, but Ravanelli says he wants to stay where he is. And I wouldn't think he's too happy at being left out today. He's been scoring fairly regularly in recent games, Ravanelli. But only among the substitutes, with Vialli back in the side. And there was Vialli challenging along with Baggio. Bordin then caught in possession. Corini. Swept wide by Bordin to Pecchia. Now Canio. The crowd are enjoying this. Buso. Ferrara is still down injured at the other end. I think the referee's attention has been drawn to it now, but play is still going on. Corini, Ferrara in fact has just walked off the field. Hopefully not too serious, the injury. But for the moment, Napoli down to 10 men. Maybe in trouble here, Baggio. Linking with Vialli. Baggio again. Vialli's pulled away to the far post, and Baggio was trying to pick him out there. just about held on Napoli. Ferrara now back on the pitch.
Sorry, Pierre, wasn't that fabulous football from Baggio and Vialli there? That was tremendous work that Baggio showed there to win that ball back. The supporting run of Vialli and a lovely little dink over the defender's foot, and they were a little bit unfortunate that the two of them couldn't carve out an opening.
Ferrara, who'd come racing back on to defend desperately. And they needed him here. He'd looked up there and he'd spotted Vialli. And Ferrara, fortunately for Napoli, was in the way, but now needs some pretty urgent attention. Ferrara, who it seems will be a Juventus player next season, at a cost of around £4 million. Torricelli, the sweeper on the Juventus side. He's had various roles at the back, but it's the sweeper one that he's held down in the past couple of months or so, and very effectively too. In goes Marocchi. Torricelli to pump it forward. Well by Vialli.
Torricelli's hit a number of those balls. He's not really giving Vialli much chance at all. Ferrara's just coming over the top of him and winning the majority. He's had loads of other options on Torricelli, but he does seem to like this long ball forward.
Of course, the last time we saw Juventus in a featured live game, young Del Piero was playing up front and scored a hat-trick against Parma, but he's with the youth team today. Not even among the substitutes. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of him in the future. Very exciting young player, and a couple of really good goals among the three.
Yes, he looked a very exciting guy, didn't he, Peter? It just goes to show the sort of depth that Juventus have when they can leave out such an exciting young prospect.
Slipped by Moller. Creating a little bit of space for himself. He certainly is a talented player. Here's Buso. Still tucking in down this right side. Conte in first. Now Corini trying to squeeze it out wide to Gambaro. Ferrara. Surging run. Is he going to go all the way here? Just nicked away from him at the last. Really powerful run then by the Napoli captain.
Fabulous play from Ferrara. Saw the gap, went for it, and I thought for 1 minute he was going to bump into someone and go over, but he didn't. He kept on his feet and really went for the byline. Here it is. It's a tremendous run. He just sees a little gap appear, and there he goes in between Porrini.
In the meantime, Fonseca very close there for Napoli. So he took the corner quickly.
Yeah, the corner comes in. I think it actually falls on Fonseca's... oh, it's an overhead kick he tries. A bit ambitious.
Well, he has scored some spectacular goals, and he's got 15 in 23 matches in Serie A this season. Missed some of the early games because of World Cup duty with Uruguay.
He scored that quite wonderful overhead kick at, I think it was Parma, Peter.
That's right, yeah.
The game he did. Absolutely fabulous technique.
Given away by Porrini. Straight to Gambaro. Now Corini. Threading through a delightful pass too, if just too hard, I'm afraid, for Pecchia. As it gathered pace, gathered momentum across the greasy surface. But again, we saw there the vision of Corradini, who can certainly spray the ball around.
Yeah, it was an excellent pass, Peter. It was the surface that just beat it. There's one of those runs again from Vialli. It's a great run. He really does pull off the shoulder of defenders and makes these long raking 40-yard runs. Absolutely super.
Gambaro taking the throw for Napoli. Still no score. And we've 10 minutes of the first half remaining. kick to Napoli, who've lost 3 times at home this season. Juventus having beaten 3 times away. Kohler getting the better of Fonseca again. Now Marocchi, former Italian international. Out to Baggio, a current one. And the captain of Juventus tumbled again.
Yeah, since Cannavaro's been picking him up man for man, this is the only time that Baggio's been able to get away from him. That's taking free kicks. Cannavaro's doing a good job on him.
Baggio again. Trying to link with Livio. Here's Baggio. Now Moller. On to Vialli. And that'll be a free kick. Foul by Ferrara, inevitably. But as you say, it looks as if he's relishing it, Ray.
Ah, he looks as if he's loving it, doesn't he? And I think it's a good job. It's a wet old day as well, because he won't be suffering from sweating too much. It's great running off the ball again. It was a super little reverse pass from Moller, and he nearly got himself in. But he really does look lively, and it's, as I said before, it's great to see him back. And this is a bit of a dangerous old situation for Napoli. But they do have a number of players, Vialli included, and we saw a magnificent goal he scored here last season from a very similar situation. They have a number of players that can score from this area.
Well, Moller is there, and also, of course, Roberto Baggio. No Ravanelli, though, as he's not in the starting lineup. We've seen him strike some venomous free kicks.
Yeah, I think just out of the picture here on the right-hand side, you'll see Fortunato, who's got a magnificent left foot. They might even use him with a little roll to the side.
Yes, Fortunato, who thought he'd scored in the first meeting earlier in the season, but it went down as an own goal. Well, nothing on this time for Baggio. Torricelli. Bad touch though, and they might be stretched here with Torricelli having gone forward, but Napoli have wasted the opportunity. Kohler on to Marocchi. Good strong run again by Vialli, but they haven't found him.
It was an excellent pass as well, Peter, but unfortunately we did mention the pitch is a great passing surface, but that is only to feet, of course. Once it hits the surface, it's going to really zip off.
Foul on Bordin. Former Atalanta player. He's had a couple of games out through suspension, Bordin. The first he's missed since his move to Napoli. The one outright buy that they've made for this season. All the rest are on loan. Such as the financial straits that they're in. Now Buso. Yeah, a twitch from Lippi.
Beautifully taken free kick, Peter. Fonseca coming on with his left foot and just clipping the ball to the far post, hoping that they'll get a good header back across the goal. It was a good header, but not really in the direction that he had wanted to put it.
One in the air initially by Bordin, then by Pecchia. Is Corini. Down for Buso. Pecchia trying to stab it on. Gambaro. It's Fonseca. Gambaro has stayed up. And here is he now. Very important tackle on Gambaro.
Yeah, good tackle from Fortunato. Juventus were holding their line on the edge of the box. It was a lovely ball in from Fonseca to Gambaro, and there was Fortunato just covering round in his left-back position. Very, very well-timed tackle.
And then Bordin went charging into Livio. At times the pace is pretty frenetic. And it was something of a reckless tackle by Bordin, quickly penalised by the referee, who has been quick to stamp down on any hint of trouble. Livio now. Fortunato is still down injured, incidentally, as we move into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Fortunato back on his feet, back in the fray, and Juventus back on the attack. Livio. Skirted away from Bordin. Pecchia in for Canio. Now will he take on Porrini here? Pecchia. The challenge by Moller. Here's Fonseca. As ever, Kohler has gone across with him and is forced to concede the corner.
That's a good old battle, that is, Fonseca and Kohler. I think Kohler's he's winning it at the moment by a couple of rounds, but it's a fair old battle.
Canio with the corner. Peruzzi came for it, just about got it away. Baggio to Livio. Now the counter-attack is on here for Juventus. Great ball, finds Vialli. And has he delayed too long? Baggio.
What a shame, Peter. It was great football. Good work initially from Baggio on the edge of his own box. Nice ball forward to Livio. He got his head up early on as he was running with the ball. He knew where the ball was, got his head up, had a look, and there was Vialli pulling off the defender's shoulder again. A great run, and he just couldn't get it under control and get his shot in.
Here's Pecchia. Certainly a let-off for Napoli. 3 minutes of the first half to go. Pecchia. Bordin had made the run outside him. And it's a corner. No goals here. 1-1 in the Genoa derby, and I'm told the Genoa coach, Scioli, has been sent off from his seat on the touchline. Canio curling over the cross. And it was Corini who fired over the bar.
Yeah, just before the corner was given, Pecchia was in a great position just on the edge of the box to actually put the ball in himself. He elected to play it wide, and consequently they got the corner. But I thought Pecchia would have been more advisable to whip the ball in himself. It's a difficult old surface for goalkeepers, and a nice early ball in behind defenders would make it very difficult for people.
And just to recap, if Juventus lose today and Sampdoria drop at least a point, then Milan will win their 14th league title. Milan, who've already played their match this weekend, a goalless draw, yet another one with Torino. Milan, who've conceded only 12 goals this season in Serie A. Free kick given to Napoli, as Vialli is penalised. He's having a fair old tussle too with Cannavaro, the young Napoli defender.
It looked like a good old-fashioned shoulder charge, this one, Peter. We saw Vialli doing his weights beforehand. He looks as if his upper body strength still there at least.
Maybe not with quite his customary sharpness yet, Vialli, having been out for so long. But he's certainly putting himself about up front and playing with a great deal of enthusiasm. Into the last minute of the first half. Livio's cross. And it was Vialli again.
Great run again, Peter, as well. That's the area we talk about all the time, getting across the front post. And he got across the front post and he was first to the ball. But the ball was just coming slightly behind him, and all he managed to do was just flick it beyond the far post. Here we see Vialli making that run to the near post, gets in his header. Very difficult to control it with Ferrara breathing down his neck like that.
And some good service being provided down the right flank by Angelo Di Livio. A very different style of player to Canio.
Yes, very much so. He's slightly more direct, Peter Di Livio. He likes to knock the ball past the defender and whip that ball in, where Di Canio likes to get it up to the defender and do a trick. And he certainly has a few of those up his sleeve.
Almost into injury time. Di Canio trying to thread a path to goal. Marocchi Marocchi. Time here though for Corradini, who had been injured in the week. Presumably has recovered from that to claim his place in the side. Almost made a mistake there, no. Fonseca now. And did look to be pulled back.
Yes, good refereeing, really. Definitely was pulled back by Conte. It just shows the value of having a player up front that's prepared to get hold of the ball and attempt to bring others into it. He really does work very, very hard, Fonseca.
He has such fantastic pace. Juventus are not prepared to take any risks with him. Gambaro's kick. Too easily cleared away, though. Baggio, lovely little ball inside. Well read, though, by Corini. There's Conte's pass, trying to send Vialli away, and he's prepared to chase it, too, with Ferrara. Commendable determination, Vialli. Now here's Conte. Can he pull it back here? Only into the path of Corradini. We're in the second minute of injury time. Canio.
Yeah, we always talk about the fantastic skills and abilities that these guys have, and I'm sure we've spoken about it time and time again, that they really do work exceptionally hard. They have to. They're marked man for man. They have to get about the pitch to lose their marker. And we just saw Vialli there working like a Trojan to try and win the ball back, and he did so.
Well, they've lost the ball at the moment. Signaling for another one.
I'm sure they'll be quite relieved to have a little bit of a break. It's been a bit of a frenetic old pace in the first half.
And certainly the excitement is likely to continue with the rain falling as it is. Might well make for a mistake or two as the game wears on. Pecchia with the cross through. Out by Fortunato. Moller now. Trying to scamper away from Buso. Here's Vialli on the chase again, and Taglialatela has to come racing out of his goal. Vialli. Fortunato. This is to Livio. Can't be too much time left now. There have been one or two injuries in the first half, but not that many I can think of, and there indeed is the half-time whistle. Blown by referee Gianni Beskin. Well, chances certainly in the first half falling to both sides. But at the halfway stage, it's Napoli 0, Juventus 0 in the San Paolo Stadium in Naples. We'll be back in a couple of minutes after the break.
Monday morning. I'm Adrian Shaw, playing the hits and more, but first, Jackie with the travel update. Just after 8 on Tuesday morning. I'm Adrian Shaw, playing the hits and more, but first, Jackie with the travel update. Just after 8 on Wednesday morning. I'm Adrian Shaw, playing the hits and more. But first, Jackie with the travel update.
The Cavalier now has ABS as standard, because one of these days, you just might need it.
He's poised, anticipating, waiting. The faintest gap will open that chance, but what's he gonna do next? Oh, what a marvellous dummy!
If your family ever get a chance to get fed up with an Olivetti personal computer bought on option to own,
Dad, you're great at that. No.
they can return it to Radio Rentals after 6 months with nothing more to pay.
Daddy, my software needs changing.
Yeehaw! Family package, no deposit, full service backup, and with the final payment, it's yours.
Stay contented. Get radio rented.
Have you ever had a dream about playing for your country?
FIFA International Soccer from EA Sports.
noticed how the people with the most money...
See to the fire, would you, Simpson?
...are the least inclined to waste it. And did you know that Cheltenham and Gloucester is Britain's most cost-efficient national building society?
Excuse me. What about the class?
The rich do.
Cheltenham and Gloucester. We're run to make you richer.
The Wilkinson Sword Protector. So sharp, it has to be kept behind bars. Protective guard wires ensure that while the shave is close, there is no safer wet shave.
But what a man needs even more.
The safest wet shave ever from Wilkinson Sword.
It was then I realized she'd never leave me for another man.
The Corsa GSI is fiendishly hard to steal, but please remember, it's only a car.
And this looks very promising. He's drifting in from the left. He's over the halfway line, inside one, outside another. He's going all the way! Oh, but what an interception!
Welcome back to the San Paolo Stadium. The score here at half-time in our game between Napoli and Juventus, 0-0 of course. Now with the teams off in the locker room getting their half-time chats, a chance for us to race through the half-time scores and indeed results from the games of this 31st weekend of Serie A spread over the last couple of days. Cagliari 3, Reggiana 0, a full-time result this and indeed the next three scores. Deli Valdez for Cagliari, all 3 goals there and all 3 in the first half. Inter reversing their recent trend with a 4-1 home win against Lecce. 2 Yonk goals, then Bergkamp with a penalty, Berti getting a goal, and then a late consolation goal for Baldieri for Lecce. Torino 0-0 with Milan. Peter was mentioning that earlier. So those are the 4 games played in advance, and then we move on to today's game. Oh, I beg your pardon, there's another one too, sorry. Parma losing at home, 2 goals to Roma. Balbo and Festa the scorers there. So moving on to today's game, somewhat belatedly, Lazio are 0-0 at home with Atalanta. That game they're dedicating very publicly to Paul Gascoigne, but not too much to shout about so far. Napoli and Juventus are 0-0. A relegation derby at Piacenza, they're 1-0 up against Cremonese. De Vitis, the captain, with his fourth goal of the season, and giving his side some hope. Sampdoria in their derby with Genoa, 1-1 with Genoa. Bink, the scorer of the first goal, putting Genoa ahead, then Sampdoria answering with Jugovic, and then just before half-time the Genoa coach Franco Scoglio sent off. And the final game, Udinese 1-0 up against Foggia. Udinese also trying to escape Serie B. Pizzi with a penalty. So those are the half-time scores and indeed results from the last couple of days. We'll be hearing from Don Howe about today's game in a minute or two. Right now, a chance to win a trip to watch the footy here in Italy with our March Goal of the Month competition.
Yes, your chance to look at some great goals, all contenders for the March Goal of the Month competition. Paul Gascoigne will choose his top selection from these. If you eventually agree with his number 1 choice, you could win a trip to see a top Serie A match of your choice. Those then are goals of the month. Make your choice on these, then send your cards to us here at Football Italia. The address is Football Italia, P.O. Box 1881, London W10 6ZP.
As you can see, it's still pouring down out there, and I think having a bit of an effect on the game so far.
Yes, that's right, and it's going to get worse. I mean, absolutely. In the second half, it will affect the passing, and it'll be slowing the ball down rather than quickening it up. And the first half was really ruled by the markers. I mean, Kohler hasn't given Fonseca much of a kick. Ferrara with Vialli, he hasn't given him much of it. They're working hard. I mean, the two front players are working hard without getting any joy. I suppose in conditions like this, James, you would say, let's get down the flanks and get some crosses in. Because any defender will tell you it's hard to deal with crosses coming across the edge of the 6-yard box, because they shoot at you. Anything can happen. They might go in your own net. They go to a forward. Anything can happen.
Do you see the game going in anyone's favour as it continues? I mean, this rain is actually getting worse as it goes on.
Yeah, I mean, it's favoured the defenders, and I suppose, you see, a forward, he likes to change direction.
Between any one team?
Well, I mean, you look at they've both got similar players. I mean, you've got Baggio, for instance, who plays behind Vialli. You've got Canio, who plays behind Fonseca, and they both carry the ball. Canio and Baggio work with the ball. Now, it's hard for them to change direction. And that's how they do it. That's how they beat defenders. They go to the left, check, and then come back on their right. In these conditions, that's very, very difficult.
Indeed. We never fail to mention that Baggio is, of course, the European footballer of the year and possibly the greatest player in the world right now. Not a particularly scintillating performance from him in the first half.
Well, let's give Cannavaro a lot of praise there, because he's marked him very well. And not only has he marked him, but when Napoli have won the ball, he's broke off Baggio and got forward himself. So he's doing a good job on Baggio. It's not easy for him.
Okay, well, the players beginning to come out now for the second half of our game, Napoli against Juventus. So we'll hand back to our commentary team, Ray Wilkins and Peter Brackley.
Thank you, James. Yes, indeed, the two teams now about to reappear. Canio, who had a couple of shots early on, has looked lively, but generally Napoli have had a problem scoring goals in recent weeks. Canio's against Milan was quite a rare strike for them. They've found the net only once in the last 4 games, including that one against Milan, and they failed to score more than 1 goal in their last 11. So generally it has been a problem. And Trapattoni's side, well, they've had a few menacing moments at the other end too, and I've been impressed with Livio down the flank, Ray.
Yes, he's a very direct player. He just looks to toe the ball past the fullback and whip them crosses in, and he's whipped in a couple. And as you say, he's looked quite impressive when he's decided to have a go at people. They haven't really given him as good a service as they might well have done, but yeah, when Livio has it, Peter, he does look quite effective. And as Don says, when them balls are zipping across that 6-yard box, anyone can stick it in the net. I think we'll probably see the introduction of Ravanelli slightly later. There's no question about it that Vialli will tire. It's a leg-sapping old surface, and perhaps the old grey fox can come on and do a bit of magic with that left foot of his.
Well, he has been impressive, as I was mentioning earlier on, in terms of goal-scoring, Ravanelli. 6 in the last 9. He's got 9 in all in Serie A this season, and he'll be champing at the bit to get his chance again.
Gives him another dimension as well. Sorry, Peter. Gives him another dimension. He's a tall lad. They whip them balls in, and Ravanelli can get up and perhaps knock one in for them.
So away we go then. Napoli now attacking the goal to our left, and this is Gambaro. Conditions are indeed worsening, but often that does introduce a few errors, and it might make for more goal mouth activity. Free kick to Juventus. And it's taken by Livio. Juventus, who have to win really to keep up their faint hopes of winning the title, and that's all it is now, with Milan 7 points clear at the start of play. Vialli. Fonseca, who has been so tightly marked by Jurgen Kohler. At times it's hard for the players to keep their feet now in this driving rain. Pecchia. Picking out Corini. This is Buso. Good running by Bordin. Out by Torricelli. On then from Moller. Corradini to Cannavaro. Return by Canio. Torricelli with the intervention, which was a pretty crucial one too. Now he's turned back into trouble, back into Corini, who was left hobbling under the weight of the challenge by Torricelli. Baggio. Jürgen Kohler now going forward. Good tackle though by Corradini, who's claimed the throw. And the linesman and referee in accord. Fortunato. Tangling with Fonseca. Play going on though. On by Moller. Again, sound defending by Napoli.
It's a lovely pass from Moller there. I thought Conte might have just come on and had a strike there. It was a beautiful little ball inside the fullback, and Conte wasn't able to get his shot in, but it was a hell of a pass. Once again, we see the pitch defeating Napoli there. Nice long ball through, but just skidding off the surface.
Conte to Livio. Now Vialli. Just hearing of a sending off today. Bresciani of Foggia has been dismissed. They're losing by a goal to nil against Udinese, and they've lost Bresciani. Pari warming up for Napoli, the former Sampdoria player, indeed a member of their championship squad of 1991.
And a more than useful player, Peter. It's, you know, I would imagine with the problems that Napoli have had, he would have been the ideal sort of gent to have come in and done a very, very good job. He's a really super professional.
He started the last couple now, Pari, having been out of favour for nearly a year. But a very experienced player, and certainly it has been a surprise that he hasn't featured at all until these recent games. Pecchia. Now Bordin. Fortunato for Juventus to Moller. Caught though by Corini's tackle. Too easy for Kohler. Wasn't the best of clearances though. Picked up by Pecchia. Juventus struggling to get it clear. Now they can with Conte. Helped out by Moller. Baggio drills it wide to Livio. And the flag's up for offside. Frustration etched on the face of Gianluca Vialli.
Yes, I think he wanted the ball in a lot earlier, Peter. Livio was hesitating rather too long with the ball. He allowed Napoli to push up and catch them offside. The earlier the pass, especially in these conditions, the earlier the ball in, the better for forward players.
Moller surely being held off then. That indeed is the referee's decision. And it's Livio for Juventus. Second highest scorers in Serie A, Juve, behind Sampdoria. Samp with 56, Juve 51. Vialli. This is Bordin taking the throw then for Napoli. Fonseca, but Livio on a foot in ahead of him. Canio. Quickly confronted by Porrini. Marocchi's pass, now then to Baggio. Moller streaking away down the middle. Vialli laid it back and then was laid out. And safely through to Taglialatela with Vialli still in trouble. Torricelli. Off goes Vialli. Taglialatela alert though to the danger.
It really is a credit to Vialli that he's looked so sharp, and his fitness really, because he wouldn't have had too many games to get himself match fit. They normally play a first team against youth side on every Thursday afternoon, and that would be the only time that Vialli would possibly have had the chance to get this sort of fitness back, and really is a credit to him the way he's done.
And he'll still be hoping, presumably, to force his way into the Italian World Cup squad, but I wouldn't know that there's enough time for that now. Arrigo Sacchi's plans presumably have been made. Moller. He'll be with the German team in the States. Now is that a foul on Fortunato, right on the edge of the box, as he went weaving towards goal, and referee Biskin has given the kick. Another opportunity for Baggio.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mistimed tackle, a bit of a forwards tackle, with no disrespect to the forwards out there watching. Forward coming back to try and help out his defence and just lunging really.
Baggio directing the operation. Fortunato is there as well. Kohler has come forward, hoping to make his challenge in the penalty box. Off to Moller. As they say, always going well wide.
Yes, a very difficult shot to hit at, Peter. The ball is skidding off the surface, and there's only one real sweet spot on the ball that you can hit when they come across like that. And if you do slightly miss that sweet spot, then it's going to go haywire, as we've just seen. The game seems to be drifted into a little bit of a stalemate at the moment, doesn't it? Both sides cancelling each other out pretty effectively. It just needs a little spark of inspiration from someone.
Canio for Fonseca. Now Gambaro. Canio staying loose. Surrounded by Juve defenders. And they've got it back again. Livio, Vialli. And in came Ferrara, sliding into the tackle. Surprise brewing in the Olympic Stadium. Lazio are trailing to Atalanta, who've already been relegated. Atalanta a goal up in the second half. Valentini the scorer. Lazio 0, Atalanta 1.
Obviously missing Gazza's influence.
Yeah. Kohler. Here's Conte now. Livio. Goalkeeper's positioning was accurate.
And that's not the worst cross in the world, Peter. Livio just saw that yard and whipped that ball in again with no one going across the front post this time. Moller electing to run through the middle of the goal.
Bordin on for Corini. Bordin again. Now Buso. Canio in the middle. And away by Porrini for the corner.
Yeah, the midfield section of Napoli have done exceptionally well. Bordin, Pecchia and Corini, they've all done exceptionally well to keep battling away in there. They're all very nice footballers, and they've really done Napoli proud.
Canio's corner, and Gambaro got his bearings all wrong.
Stuart, it was nice and bright. It was a good corner kick. Gambaro leaving it late to come up onto the edge of the box. Nice to see a bit of variety from corner kicks and free kicks.
Looking as if Fonseca has a bit of a problem at the moment. He was carrying an injury, which had made him a slight doubt for today.
He's got an even bigger one with that big German behind him, Peter, hasn't he? He's really marked him very, very tightly, not giving him a sniff.
It's Canio, who's followed everywhere by Porrini. Torricelli now. Still for handball by Baggio, not given though by the referee. Torricelli, the last defender again for Juventus, and safely through to Peruzzi. At the moment seems to be the third choice for the Italian team for the World Cup finals. Played in a friendly match they had recently in the second half. Gianni featured in the first, but Pagliuca is the #1 choice of Sampdoria.
They are in a very fortunate situation at the moment, Peter, Italy, with their goalkeepers.
This is Pecchia now, trying to create something for Napoli. Fonseca was in there hoping, and he was certainly nudged then by Conte, but the referee rules no more than that, and decides it was a fair challenge on the Napoli striker.
I think if he'd have shown the same determination that Conte shows, Conte wants to go and win that ball. I think if Fonseca had done exactly the same, he'd have probably stuck it in the back of the net.
Laid back for Gambaro. But this mistake could be costly as Juventus spring forward with Moller. Good acceleration by him, but failing to link up with Vialli. Away come Napoli again. Buso. Ahead of him is Fonseca. Squeezed into the middle. Down goes Bordin. The two sudden bursts then from either side. Baggio. More life to the game at the moment. Moller back for Conte. Kohler. Livio had shown for him, but a fair tackle, and off come Napoli once more. Conte has covered for Kohler, still struggling to get back the German. Moller, his German compatriot. Torricelli, a rare excursion over the halfway line for him. Vialli, just look how hard he's working. The pace not quite there. Gambaro away, only as far as Conte. Down to Livio. Conte again. Marocchi. Was careless. Canio. Free kick to Napoli. With a foul by Porrini. Buso. Thought he'd lost it for a moment, then to Fortunato. Didn't really go forward with any confidence then, Buso.
No way through the middle of that defence. They're very, very solid, are Juventus. And Fonseca actually squared up to him nicely for a little give and go from Buso, but he elected to go on his own.
Moller. Outmaneuver though by Corini. Certainly no lack of commitment from either team.
Fabulous, isn't it? They're turned into a good game now. The game's really picked up. End-to-end stuff. A lot of tired legs, and tired legs make mistakes, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. A lot of unforced errors, but it's there we see Fortunato telling everyone to calm down a little bit. It's all a bit frantic.
Marocchi has a tackle off the ball. They're nowhere near the ball. Baggio with Cannavaro, and it's Baggio. The referee decides who is the offender. Didn't really see that one too clearly.
No, me neither, Peter, but he obviously feels that Baggio was trying to con him there.
Certainly a long way away from the intended pass. Torricelli threatened, but he's able to clear.
Another free kick given against Baggio. I think he's getting a little bit frustrated now. This young chap, he's really marked him very well indeed, not giving him much of a touch of the ball.
Canio. Three defenders converged on him then, but he got away with it. Gambaro, it's Vialli back there helping out now. Conte.
He made two tackles there, Pete. He made the first one, the initial one. He got back up and he went for the second one and actually dispossessed Canio.
Livio showing commendable strength, fouled by Corini. Canio there was saying this week, he's revealed that he talks to his shoulder before a game. He's got a tattoo on his shoulder. You haven't got any tattoos in your anatomy anywhere, Ray? You talk to for an inspiration before a game?
No, I can't say I have been. That's
one on me, that one, but apparently he does.
Yeah, it's a pretty strange one, that, isn't it? You'd wonder what he was up to, wouldn't you, if you saw him in the corner talking to his arm. I suppose there's no harm in it.
Down on the touchline, Ravanelli is warming up for Juventus, so maybe he'll be coming on soon. I would think in place of Vialli, who has certainly toiled away up front. No lack of effort from Vialli on his first start for some time. Pecchia on for Fonseca. This is Canio. Well, the attack breaks down. Let's get a word now from Don Howe. What do you make of the second half so far, Don?
Peter, when we have a little bit of wing play, when the ball goes wide and players get from the back wide and get crosses in, one, it gets more exciting, and two, it looks as though a goal might come. But when they try and get through that D, they absolutely get nothing. Why they're trying to keep forcing through the middle, I don't know.
That's the message sent from Don. They're going through the middle now, Napoli. And the shot's gone wide. Good effort, though, by Corini. From Buso, rather.
Yes, it was nice football. It was a good ball up to Fonseca, who made a little angled run, flicked it back through his legs, and there's Buso coming on to blast one from 20-odd yards.
Well, it really is zipped across the ground, but no problem for Peruzzi.
That's all we need, Peter, really. We need a couple of those shots to go in on target, because they definitely will give both goalkeepers immense problems.
Ravanelli getting stripped now, so he will be making his entrance pretty soon. I would think Vialli, but no confirmation as yet. Here's Fonseca, who's also been hobbling a little bit. Bordin. No way through for Canio, and whacked away by Torricelli to Baggio. Good tackle again by Ferrara, who went down to the ground writhing in agony, caught by Baggio. Maybe let his frustration get the better of him, if he did catch him there, which I can only think that he did. He's clutching his knee. Approaching the halfway point in the second half. And it's going to be a double substitution, in fact, by Juventus. Here's the incident again, Ray. What did you make of that? Oh, he left his foot in there.
Yeah, he seemed to leave his foot in there. But unfortunately, on surfaces such as this, Peter, when it is so slippery, we get a lot of badly timed tackles, and a lot of people skid a lot further than they would normally do, and therefore the odd boot is going to be catching hold of somebody, and that is just one of the problems on playing with such a wet surface. There we see old Ravanelli coming on,
and also Galia. Vialli has gone off. Not sure who has gone off for Galia. Vialli's gone straight off, or about to go straight off to the dressing rooms.
Yeah, pretty wise decision before he gets the flu, I would have thought, hanging around there. Yeah, I think he can be absolutely delighted with the way things have gone for him. He's worked like a Trojan, and for Trapattoni to have a player like Vialli coming back is just like having a £5 million player on the transfer market. Super stuff.
Andy Moller has also gone off, so they've sacrificed his pace to bring on Galia. What do you make of that, Ray?
Yeah, I personally, I thought Moller wasn't having the best game I've ever seen him have, but he's always likely to produce something with that sheer pace that he does possess. And I think I'd have been inclined to have kept Moller on.
Well, here's Corini now for Napoli.
But Trapattoni knows a little bit better than I do, I would have thought, Peter.
Don't you run yourself down. Bordin here. There's another injury, so at least one, maybe two. Only Ferrara's too happy in the centre circle there, and there's a Juve man down as well. Looks like Fortunato, is it?
Yes, I think it is, Peter. That was that one that skidded up at him, I think, and they've had a bit of a clash. Seems to have got a whack on the head.
Don Howe, your thoughts on the substitutions? Moller going off. I think Vialli, no surprise. What about Moller being displaced?
Yeah, well, I suppose Vialli, an hour in his first game back is not too bad, and he has worked hard, and rather than running for the sake of it tired in his first game, because there are important games to come for Juventus, And Moller was, it's like Ray said, Moller was not getting into the game at all. In fact, he was, for some unknown reason, Moller and Baggio are forever getting at each other. And I don't know why, I don't know if there's misunderstanding there. And that's why they took him off. I think and now they've put Baggio, who's playing right up with Ravanelli.
Thanks, Don. Yeah, we spotted that in the first half, one or two fractious moments between the two, Baggio and Moller. Two very talented players, two inspirational players, but neither of whom have been able to make a real impact in this game. Certainly Moller won't be now. Now Lazio have made it 1-1 against Atalanta, and it's that man Signori again, his 18th of the season. So he's clear at the top of the scorers charts now. Fonseca challenging here, one of those behind him, also Baggio. And of course, Zola and Salenzi. Ruud Gullit on 15 goals, and it seems that he's going to be returning to Milan next season. What about that, Rick?
Oh, he's had an absolutely marvellous season, Peter. He's been a joy to watch as Ruud Gullit, and I'm sure Milan realised that they actually made a mistake in letting Ruud Gullit lead. But my word, if they're winning the championship as comfortable as this each season, Milan, the introduction of a fit and enthusiastic Ruud Gullit, they're going to be very difficult to catch.
Well, the rain is falling relentlessly now. It's not really been heavier than this at any stage. But again, Napoli failed to capitalise on the corner. And off goes Livio, now parading down the left. Almost got away from Ferrara's lunge. And it was a very untidy tackle by the Napoli captain.
Yes, it was an untidy tackle. He timed it all wrong. Livio read the tackle very nicely, anticipated when he was coming in, went past him, and he just left the trailing leg there to bring him down.
Certainly has got better since his early games. Livio for Juventus, brought into the side this season, and he's got better and better as the season has worn on.
Yes, he holds that right wing berth very nicely, Peter. He gives them a nice bit of balance on the right-hand side. And I'm sure Trapattoni will be delighted with the season that he's had. He's used him on every occasion that he possibly can. And as you say, from the start of the season, he really has grown in stature.
Well, they've used both their substitutes, so they can ill afford for Livio not to be able to continue here. He doesn't look too happy.
No, he's got a kick in the calf muscle, I think, Peter, there.
Baggio, given away though to Pecchia. Now to Canio, faced by Galia. One of those substitutes, still to Canio. Cannavaro. This is Corini. And again, harmlessly through to Peruzzi, who's kept 3 successive clean sheets. Don't think he'll have a clean jumper at the end of this game. Fonseca. Gambaro have made the run ahead of him. Good interception though by Conte. Now Baggio. Ravanelli. There's Kohler. Such a powerful player. Conte's pass now to Ravanelli. Getting a fair bit of stick from the crowd. Not sure why.
Probably loves it, Pete. He looks that sort of player that would revel in that sort of situation.
He's certainly been accepted by the Juventus fans after taking a while to win them over. Here's Corini. Now Fonseca. Gambaro was always stretching there.
He took his eye off the ball momentarily. He's watching the defender come in on him, and on this surface you can't really take your eye off the ball. It skids all over the place.
Conte. Here's Marocchi. Ravanelli. Ravanelli, known as Bianca, the white feather. And here he is now. He's a belligerent and hard-running striker. Getting nowhere this time, though. Ferrara has attempted clearance, back off to Livio.
He's had a bit of a match for Ferrara, hasn't he? He had the most magnificent tussle there with Vialli all afternoon, and he really has defended exceptionally well.
Just watching Livio there, he can hardly walk at the moment. But hopefully he'll run it off. Canio. In goes Fonseca. Gambaro. Away by Kohler. He's found Marocchi. Now Baggio through the middle. Vital challenge there by young Cannavaro.
Yeah, he's done very well on Baggio. Baggio is a very, very difficult player to mark, and that really wasn't an excellent tackle.
Quite a discovery, Cannavaro, who's come up through the youth ranks. Wasn't really expected to be a regular this season, but his form has been such they can't keep him out. Oh, Fonseca didn't fancy that one.
No, he didn't fancy that one against Torricelli. No, he was. There was only one person going to win that.
Forward by Cannavaro. It's Fonseca now showing his pace. Bordin in tigerishly. Ferrara wins it in the air. That's a foul on Pecchia. 15 minutes left, still no sign of a goal in this game. Gambaro. Bordin. Pecchia. Up towards Buso. This is Corini. Now Buso with the cross. Again, though, straight to a Juventus defender. They'll have to do better than that if they're to break them down. Canio. Easily dealt with, though, by Kohler.
It does go to show, though, the respect that the Juventus players do have for Canio. They double up and sometimes treble up on him when he's anywhere near that box. He really does have a few tricks up his sleeve.
Corini being urged on by the Napoli crowd. Fonseca appealing, but no free kick. Ravanelli for Juventus. Turns straight back into Pecchia. It's good work by him. Away from Marocchi. Now to Canio. Could be something on here. Corini. Look how quickly they closed him down.
As soon as he made the movement to turn away from the goal, they all pushed up Juventus, and they just swarmed around him. He must have thought he was ambushed, I thought, Corini.
Ferrara.
Yes, the old Gambaro's having a bit of a puff and a pan. I think there's a few tired legs out there now, Peter. They've been really going at it, hammer and tong, for a long, long time now.
Kohler once more, the master of Fonseca. I don't think Fonseca will have too many harder afternoons than this against the master defender Kohler. And he wants to go home with the ball. Peruzzi will tell you he had it covered.
That was a good shot, wasn't it? Ferrara's really had a blinding match, possibly one of the better players on the field today. And there we see him coming forward, good feet. I really did have a blast with that one. There he is. Look.
Nip down and sign it for him.
Kez, isn't it? He's taking his ball on. Is it Kez, the film?
I don't know, I never go to the pictures. Pecchia, still looking lively, but it was Conte's tackle that denied him. Galia. Juventus free kick. Vialli warming up now, going through his paces for Napoli. Vialli, a striker, and that other well-known striker, better-known striker indeed, Signori has scored again for Lazio. So they're now 2-1 up, Paul Gascoigne's team. That's good news for him. Give him a lift, 2-1 up against Atalanta. Offside, as Baggio was threatening. Frustrating afternoon for Baggio. Tightly marked, and he really hasn't been able to create too much for Juventus today.
I think Fonseca could do with a little bit of a help up the front. Di Canio seems well bottled up when he's in possession of the ball. The Juventus players really swarm around him, and Bresciani would give him another outlet up there, and hopefully they could turn the match in the remaining minutes that we have.
He's had injury problems lately, Bresciani. He actually featured in the first game of the season that we covered and scored as a substitute, I think against Sampdoria. Now Fonseca looking for Pecchia. Neither team has really mastered the conditions. Baggio, fouled by Cannavaro. It's a wry smile for the Juventus captain.
I think he realised he's not going to get much change out of Cannavaro. Fonseca's coming in for a little bit of stick from the supporters. His little reverse pass there going astray, but he really has worked tirelessly for his side, and it's a little bit unnecessary to get onto him like that.
Marocchi with an injury, and we saw Di Canio stretching as well a moment or so ago in these very heavy conditions. Can't bring a sub on, they've used them both. Livio has been struggling as well. Napoli have got both their likely substitutes now warming up. Curled in by Baggio. But again, nothing to examine the qualities of Giuseppe Taglialatela. Livio. Galia. Now the break is on for Napoli. Canio's in the middle, and Torricelli to the rescue.
Yes, I think it's Buso out on the wide who hit the cross in. He's livid with Di Canio, because Di Canio made a run to the near post, and as Buso played it, his head went down to play the ball. Di Canio pulled out to go to the back post, and a little bit of a communication problem. I don't think Trapattoni would have been too pleased with Fortunato in the first place. It was a pretty weak challenge from his fullback, which allowed Napoli to get on the break. And Trapattoni, being the pro that he is, I'm sure he would have had a few words had a goal gone in there.
Well, the second half has been riddled with errors, but none that have produced really goal-worthy chances. On by Galia, a seasoned professional who may not be with Juventus for too much longer, having given them good service down the years, but I would think set to move on now. Fortunato with the free kick for Juventus. Galia. Oh, gave that one away almost nonchalantly.
That was pretty atrocious stuff, Peter, wasn't it? No one around him, just giving the ball away willy-nilly now.
And at the moment, the game has really died away. Still time for a goal or two, hopefully. Ravanelli. Livio. They've got three in the middle. And this time, Livio's service is poor. Pecchia on the break for Napoli. They want a victory, really, to sustain their hopes of a UEFA Cup place. They can't settle for a draw, even if they are playing Juventus. Fonseca to Pecchia. Buso. Kohler again, so close to Fonseca, and the free kick's been given. Well, Kohler doesn't like it. He felt he played the ball.
Yeah, it's never a free kick, Peter, is it? Fonseca he was attempting to use his arm to hold Kohler off, and Kohler moved away, and I think he just lost his balance, really. I don't really see where you can give a free kick for that.
Well, that's the way the referee has read the situation. That's Pari about to come on. And we saw Bresciani earlier. Pari wearing 14. But an opportunity here maybe for Fonseca. Corini there with him. And this is Fonseca!
Peruzzi got a hand to it, yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful stop, yeah. Just tipping it onto the upright and away it goes.
Well, that's the closest we've had to a goal. And Peruzzi didn't collect that one either. It's hooked through and inches wide. Well, Peruzzi furious with his defenders. That's Pecchia.
Great action there. The ball dips back in, and Pecchia's trying to flick it back through his legs, and it's just off target.
Well, with just under 5 minutes left, Pari is going to come on now for Napoli. The linesman telling me he hasn't got long to shine. And it's Canio, the man on loan from Juventus, who has gone off.
I think that can only signify one thing, that they're quite happy with the point that they've got at this moment. Pari will come in there, sit on the right-hand side, and try and stop
Fortunato. Almost sneaked another one. They almost sneaked the other point, and now they've taken off the one man who might have done something for them, but sometimes that's the thinking, isn't it?
Well, it is, unfortunately, Peter, yeah. I think they've just stuck Paddy there to stop Fortunato raiding down that left-hand side for Juventus. Here we go. There's the confrontation straight away.
Fortunato with the pass. Conte was prepared to chase and almost suffered for it as he clattered into the horning.
It's a shame the game died out a little bit there, Peter, because we were having a good contest, and I think since Vialli has actually been off the field, the game has died.
Well, his return was a satisfactory one from his point of view, having been out so long. But it was always doubtful that he would last the pace today. Now Gambaro. Confident catch by Peruzzi. Never took his eye off the ball and was always going to get there first. There are 3 minutes left for either of these two teams to win it. Marocchi for Juventus. Now then for Roberto Baggio. On by Marocchi again. Shepherded out by Fortunato. And if it stays this way, it means the title isn't settled yet, with Juventus picking up a point if they do. don't think there's too much doubt, Ray, that Milan eventually will win the championship.
Yes, they will eventually win it. And when you think they really are a mean machine, aren't they? They've not conceded too many goals all season, have they? I think if we look down, they've conceded 12 goals all season, which is quite phenomenal, really.
If I was cruel, I'd point out the Queen's Park Rangers have conceded 11 in 3 games, but I wouldn't do that.
Yes, thanks very much, Peter.
Pecchia wide.
We will return.
I'm sure you will. It's a useful ball in. As Conte had to hook it clear. Fired back through. No flag for offside. Great save by Peruzzi.
He hit it right on the head there, Peter. That was a magnificent save. He's hit it into the floor as Buso, and it's really, it gains pace as it hits this sort of surface. I think they were appealing for offside, Juventus. Peruzzi carried on playing, and, you know, thank God for them he did.
That was a fantastic stop. Off the line. Fortunato was guarding the post and was in the right place. Well, 2 very narrow escapes then for Juventus, and certainly Napoli have come closest to winning this game in the last few minutes. Gambaro now. And Buso. Still Buso. Peruzzi is the saviour of Juventus again. Well, he could have won it. No question about that in the last minute of the game.
He never had the confidence on his left side. That's the clearance off the line, and Peruzzi gets a punch to it. But if Buso takes it on his left foot, he opens up a nice yard of space from him and the defender. And he could have cracked it into the far post.
And a real flourish here at the finish from Napoli. Fonseca prepared to take them all on. Whipping over the cross. And it comes to nothing.
It just goes to show, Peter, what Don was talking about getting crosses in. We just had a couple of instances there where Napoli have actually got the ball in from wide areas, and they've caused absolute havoc in the Juventus defence. If only we could have seen a lot more of that throughout the game, I'm sure we'd have had a few goals on the score sheet.
Some outstanding work by Peruzzi in the Juventus goal to deny Napoli a winner.
Yes, marvellous concentration, Peter. He really hasn't had too much at all after. It's pouring down the rain. He must be freezing cold, but he pulled off a couple of wonderful saves.
Fonseca being followed by Jurgen Kohler. As we move into injury time almost now. Pecchia faced by Galia. Bordin. Showing in the Genoa derby has finished 1-1. Is this one going to finish without a goal, or can Napoli snatch it here right at the death? In by Buso. Kohler able to clear. Baggio, Ravanelli loses his footing. It's Ferrara now. Spreads it out wide to Pecchia. Now Bordin. Deflected off Galia. And it falls kindly for Juventus. There's nobody upfield for them, though. And if anyone is going to win it now, it's going to be Napoli. Bordin. Corini. Was Buso's late tackle on Porrini that left him distraught on the ground.
There's some very tired gents out there, aren't there?
Tell you what, there's a few limping.
I think the treatment rooms of both clubs will be well occupied for the next week or so.
Yeah, Buso's gone in very late then. A bit unnecessary too. A bit of frustration showing for Napoli, who will feel, certainly in the latter stages, they've done enough to win it. Pari on for Fonseca. There's Kohler with the tackle. My word, he's had a brilliant match in the back, Jurgen Kohler. Just to mention that Julio Cesar, the Brazilian, is on the bench today, having been out for a long time because of injury. 2 broken legs. One of them, of course, against Napoli, the first one. So we could well see him back in action soon.
I think he was sadly missed for them, Peter. He really is a top-class footballer, and the loss of him was a big blow to Juventus.
Bordin with the tackle on Conte.
I think if they'd have had him fit and Vialli fit for the majority of the season, we could well have seen a better challenge to Milan at the top of the table.
Well, there's one of the wounded, Livio, who's struggling to get up any real momentum. To will then to play it on to Ravanelli, who battled for anything. Corini, got out by Porrini. Pecchia for Pari. Zipping past Ravanelli. And here's Ravanelli now. He's found Marocchi. Rolled on to Livio. Now Conte. Over 3 minutes of time added on for stoppages. It's Roberto Baggio. Now the Napoli fans want the final whistle. But Cannavaro sticking to his task so well.
He looks one to look out for, Cannavaro, doesn't he, Peter? Like, defensively, he's marked Baggio exceptionally well.
Livio. Ravanelli trying to find some space in the box, being so tightly marked. Here's Livio now. Galia pointing, they want to get it forward, Juventus.
Yeah, well, I'd be blowed if I could understand that, Peter. Livio's just had the ball, he's worked a couple of tricks in the corner. There's less than a minute to go. Why on earth didn't he whip the ball into the box and at least have a last attempt on goal? I can't really see the sense of him turning out and going all the way back.
Well, that's how it's finished then. Napoli 0, Juventus 0. Napoli were certainly going for the win late on, but they haven't managed to find a goal, nor have Juventus. And, well, a disappointing afternoon in many ways. The game not quite living up to expectations after a pretty brisk start. And with that, I hand you back to James Richardson.
Well, some late excitements down on the field, and certainly one or two up here with us as well. But I think even if rain didn't actually stop play, Don, it did make it pretty tricky for both teams.
It was diabolical conditions. I mean, relentless rain for 90 minutes. Very difficult for the players out there, James.
Baggio, we've talked about him a lot. He's the European Footballer of the Year, tremendous reputation, but often we see he doesn't manage to come into his own and resolve games that you count on him to, make the difference in.
Yeah, he didn't do very well today, and I think the conditions affected him. Because, I mean, he does twist and turn, and he does change direction. And Cannavaro did a good marking job on him. So, we'll see. I mean, he can play a lot better than what we saw today.
The Canio's performance against his old club?
Well, he was taken off, wasn't he? I don't know, sometimes I think the players perhaps get too uptight about playing against their old clubs and their old teams, and I think that tells a story anyway. When you look at the substitutions in the second half, I mean, Kohler, Canio was taken off, Moller was taken off, Vialli taken off.
Sorry, time runneth out for us, and we have to hand back to Peter for the full roundup of the 31st weekend of Serie A.
Yeah, scores just coming in. It's Inter 4, Lecce 1, Cagliari 3, Reggiana 0 at the top there. 2 goals for Wim Jonk. That's the game on Friday, of course. Lazio 3, Atalanta 1. It's a hat-trick for Signori. All the goals coming in the second half after Valentini had scored for Atalanta. Piacenza 1, Cremonese 1. That's De Vitis for Piacenza, and Cremonese's goal from Gualco. Polonia was sent off for Piacenza. Sampdoria 1, Genoa 1. The Genoa derby at the Luigi Ferrara Stadium has finished in a draw. Jugovic for Sampdoria, and then on 15 minutes after, a couple of minutes earlier, Vink had given Genoa the lead. Torino 0, Milan 0, the match played on Saturday, and it's Udinese 3, Foggia 0, Pizzi with a penalty, Helveg and Giassi, the scorers for Udinese. So at the top of the table, Milan's lead is back to 6 points, with Juventus picking up a point today. Sampdoria in third place, a further point behind. Then Lazio, now up to fourth on 40. Parma out of things, and Torino down in 6th place. The bottom of the table, the 4 teams in deepest trouble are Reggiana, Udinese, Atalanta and Lecce, of course, have already been relegated. They're the bottom 2. Leading scorers in Serie A this season. Well, it's Signori with 19, Zola on 17, Baggio and Silenzi both on 16. That's it from today, from Ray Wilkins and myself. We'll be back, of course, Gazzetta on Saturday, 11 o'clock, another live game on Sunday. But for now, from us both here, a very good afternoon to you.